Hey everybody, welcome to another Age of Grogu, and I have with me Jason and Elijah, and Happy New Year to everybody.
It's
It's
a
a
New
new
Year.
year. Yeah, 2024. Oh my goodness.
Woo! Election year. So
Election
happy.
year. Yeah.
It'll be great.
Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah, we took a little break there for a little bit, and came back, and yeah, we sat and watched a few bits and pieces. We watched What If, which I thought was a lot of fun. We'll talk a little bit about that. Also, they dropped over the course of the last couple of weeks a couple of posters from Ghostbusters and some other images, stuff like that, for the new Ghostbusters film. I also want to talk a little bit about Avatar the Last Airbender because it's coming up in 2 months' time, and I just kind of figured we'd get Elijah up to speed with what Avatar the Last Airbender is all about.
I know what it is. I've never watched it.
Okay.
I know the comic. I'm aware of it. I've been aware of it for years.
Okay,
I know what it is.
We'll give you we'll give you a loose rundown because we don't want to give you any spoilers to what might be and what they might do.
You can talk about it. I'm not.
And
I mean, you could just discuss the premise.
We can
and,
just
and
discuss.
that's
Yeah,
go in
yeah.
fresh.
Yeah,
you know?
going fresh, and a few other bits of news here and there. So we're going to go through all that. Hello out there, Malloy. How's it going?
Can we talk about the 13-year-old beating
Malloy.
Tetris?
What's that?
Yeah,
The 13-year-old that beat Tetris and crashed this the original.
Oh, really?
NES Nintendo game, the actual.
Yeah.
Oh, I did read about that. I didn't. I saw it. I didn't read it. Yeah.
Got a kill screen.
He got the
technically means you beat the game.
Yeah.
Okay.
They've had
First time
bots
ever.
do it and freeze it and go past that, but this is the first time a human has got to
Oh, really?
197 level or whatever, and then it at some point it just freezes. The computer shuts down and starts to get one.
What? Oh, really? Just before it hits that level, you meant?
Yeah, it's
Really?
I don't know. It would happen
It's a kill screen. It's what you do in the game is the game can't go on. No one's ever made it that far.
Gotcha.
Into a Tetris game, and yeah, he happened to be streaming when that happened.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
How long would you have to be playing? How long would you have to be playing Tetris to get to that level? Then
I think it's
how long was he playing?
A couple hours, 3 hours.
Really?
That's
and nobody's ever done it.
No one's. There's competitions. It's
Right.
I'm sure after this you can go look it up online, but it was fairly heavy news. That's why I mentioned it because it's just
that's funny.
been popping up on my YouTube a lot.
It's a technical win. It's a kill screen. That means the game kind of just stop. Yeah, there's more nuance to it, but yeah, it's the first that ever happened, and it made the news. Everyone's talking about it.
Okay,
wow,
all right.
It's crazy.
Fair
It's one of
enough.
the best games ever in history, by the way.
Tetris? Really?
Yeah.
I get
it is
the
a
best
great game.
Mental discipline. I mean, I've seen it. I've maybe played it once for a very brief time, but
That's fun. Classic one.
Yeah, games just don't do it for me.
Other than Pokemon Go, that's the only other game I have on my phone, and I always play on full speed.
Okay.
'Cause I'm a junkie like that.
Fair
And
enough.
I've been playing it for years.
Fair enough.
And just full speed. That's the only way I can play it because any other speed is too slow.
And the controllers on your phone must be a lot harder than your normal,
You get used to it, the learning curve, like most of them. I think I'm more used to that. I probably spent more hours playing on a iPhone than I have on the traditional.
Wow.
I used to have it on my Game Boy Mini.
Of course, yeah. Oh, Game Boy Mini. Okay. What was the game that Game Boy always came with? Is Tetris. It's the one you get.
Oh, they just released the movie. I didn't watch that though.
I know. I don't want. Now I want to watch it. After this.
Wait. They just released it, or they're going to?
No, last year.
Really?
Last year.
Oh, they did release it. I thought they hadn't already.
Apple Plus.
Oh,
it came out
really?
at the same time that the Nike Michael Jordan movie came out, and something else
Happy
inventions of the Cheeto spicy Cheeto.
Oh yeah, that's
movie.
right. Yeah, you know what this is? It's it's a trend in film called the achievements of capitalism.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like that. Those are the heroes we look up to in times
Making
like these.
people
Wow, look at these people just made it
Wow.
big in business and made tons of money.
Yeah.
The Air movie is mostly about getting the deal with Nike.
Yeah, signing a deal to get
yeah.
money.
Michael Jordan. It's not about Michael Jordan.
All right.
And the Tetris movie, I thought it was gonna when they announced a Tetris movie coming, I thought it was gonna be like Battleship, where they kind of invented lore that has to do with the game. But it was actually about how they ended up getting the game from Russia.
Oh wow. Okay.
Like
Or
it
the
was
designer.
about-
It was
Fair
a
enough.
Russian designer, and then American guy found it, and he's like, "Oh, this is a great game. We can market this." And that
Mhm. Yeah, and it's one of the the longest lasting games. People still play it like
Yeah.
crazy, and it's one of the few games that like it's so visceral of like a gameplay that
Yeah.
people dream it when they play
oh
it. You know,
yeah,
Right.
like they've
Right.
done studies of
the
like
music's stuck in your head.
and like just the concepts of Tetris itself just
Moving
vastly
blocks.
apply to life. You
Right.
know, like there's a whole philosophy on it. It's like, oh, if you mess up
Okay.
now, you're gonna have to deal with it later. Stuff like
Okay.
that. It's good
Fair
stuff,
enough.
man.
Fair enough. Yes, thank you, man. We are getting close to 100 streams. We're at 94 right now, so in a couple of weeks' time, we'll be hitting
Whoa.
number 100. So
I'm gonna
that'll be,
celebrate.
I guess, yeah. Yeah, guys. So, what have you guys been up to over the break? What have you been watching? What new shows? What new movies? I mean, obviously, we also watched What If, which I think we all can say we really thoroughly enjoyed it. But what other individual things have you been checking out?
Let's see. I started watching that Nathan Fuller show with Emma
Okay.
Stone, The Curse.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
okay,
okay.
okay.
Man, it's just it's one of those like cringe things that it like focuses like the feeling that it attaches to is cringe.
Right.
Like I don't know if you're familiar about Nathan Fuller or his other show, Nathan For You.
Not
You
yet.
guys-
No.
Oh well, oh man, that's
I know a little bit about
a
the guy.
lot
I
to
know,
explain,
yeah.
but like there are
Right.
moments in so Nathan For You is about like him trying to like get other businesses and coming up with concepts and ways to help their business, but the most unorthodox ways to do it.
Right.
And he there's a lot of like emotional moments in that show. It plays as like a reality show, but this one I think kind of tapped into those concepts more and expanded on like the storytelling and the emotions.
Right.
And it's oh my god, it's just it kills me inside to watch. But like I don't know, it's just cringe situations. I don't know if you'll
What
ever-
network is that? Is that on Apple Plus? Is that what is
It's
that?
I think you could watch it on Hulu. It's a FX.
On Hulu.
Is it FX or Showtime show? But I think
a
it's on
Showtime
Hulu.
show?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, and a movie I finally watched
Mhm.
that I never watched. It's a hidden gem.
Wait. Is it? Wait, have you seen the creator yet?
No,
Oh, damn it! It was not the creator.
I think he's talking about an old
Okay,
movie.
hidden gem.
a hidden gem.
Uh huh.
The Road to El Dorado.
Oh yes.
Oh.
I
We
saw
were
that on
talking
the
about
big
that
screen.
before. And you guys brought that up. And you
Yes.
Well, it wasn't during the stream. It was like
Right.
we were watching What If. But jeez, I didn't watch the creator. Sorry,
No
Mel.
creator.
I still got to do that. I've been watching everything else but that.
I didn't know Ted had dropped yet, but we'll check it out.
But man, Road to El Dorado is a banger, dude.
Oh yeah.
Like Kevin Kline and Kenneth Branagh have such chemistry in it. And yeah, man, it's such a good movie. It was on its last days on Netflix. I don't know where to find it now.
Yeah.
It's just lost to the ether of the
course.
streamverse.
Right.
But
Available.
another movie I watched that I really liked this week was American Fiction.
Okay.
With it has Jeffrey Wright, the voice of the
Oh, okay.
Watcher.
Yeah.
It also has Issa Rae. Brent, you might
Right.
know her as the voice of Spider Mom in Spider Verse.
Oh, cool.
And it has Sterling Brown, who you may know, Brent, as Killmonger's dad from Black Panther.
Okay. Fair
But
enough.
man, it's such a good movie, dude. Remember, Elijah,
Uh-huh.
we were talking about Bill Burr's Old Dads
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
So this movie tends to do that. Well, not that. It's a shame to compare the two, but the whole issue I had with Bad Dads, with like the whole straw man kind of response to, or like liberals that he has on there, they kind of do that concept in this movie, but done well.
Okay.
But man, if you guys could get a chance to watch it, I keep seeing ads on it from Instagram, but it's just like probably like it's like one of those Oscar bait films, I guess.
Yeah.
Probably.
Jason, I was going to say, did you see the news? This was one of your favorite shows of last year, but American-born Chinese have been cancelled by Disney Plus. So yeah.
Lame. Man, it sucks. They left on a cliffhanger too.
Oh really? Okay. All right.
Week.
Yeah.
And another movie I really liked.
Mm-hmm.
Liz signed up for this thing. She's trying
Yeah.
to look for screenwriters
Right.
where you could like review movies that are up for vote.
Yeah.
And How to Blow Up a Pipeline. Good
Okay.
movie. It's
All
like say take Ocean's 11 heist style movie and add the Anarchy cookbook to it,
Yeah.
Okay.
and then just like pretty much a voice of our times,
Right.
kind of like with the eco terrorism and stuff like that. It's really good. You
Okay.
guys should check that one out. That one's on
Cool.
Hulu.
That's cool.
You can check it out. But those are so Jason's picks for the week.
Elijah, what you been up to? What have you been
I mean,
watching?
I haven't been watching. I mean, nothing new. You know, every month they services change their stuff around. I've been noticing that like a lot of the same movies are on all, like Hulu and Max are playing, and Amazon Prime all have the same movies, which is weird. Like the big top movies are all on the same streaming or all on the same services. But just rewatching some stuff I've seen before because it's now on streaming. So
fair enough.
Just been rewatching stuff I've
Did you watch Barbie again?
I rewatched Barbie. I watched American Splendor last night.
Oh, nice.
It's on HBO Max, I think, right now. And I really love that movie. I love the.
I was talking about that last week.
I love the layers of the animation and the real actor and the actor and the
play that they're doing.
The play and like all the different levels. I think it's really, really smart and really clever how they do the animation and have the real guy and do real clips from like David Letterman and things like that. So I really like that movie. I just wanted to watch it again for that because I really like how they piece that movie together.
That's when I started paying attention to Paul Giamatti.
Yeah. I remember him. His first thing that I remember him was Private Parts.
Oh.
Ryan, the radio boss or whatever.
Howard Stern, yeah. Howard Stern, yeah. Cool. I actually ended up by going to see Poor Things the other day.
What did Brent think?
What did Brent think? It was visually, it was pretty spectacular. I mean, the production design was incredible on that film. But I'm not a person who's into films about personal growth. And the character.
People achieving anything? I'm not into people achieving goals.
No. The character was about Emma Stone's character and about how she could, grow, how she grows and
independent, become like
and I just don't find that interesting to watch personally. So it kind of bored me a little bit. But performances
that'd be right up your alley because like Little Mermaid, dude, like.
With sex, lots of dirty sex in it.
Yeah, there definitely was that.
Too much.
Definitely was. No, it wasn't even that. I just found it very, and I wouldn't say untasteful because I understood. Again, that goes with the story of what they were trying to tell. Right. But I came out of it was like, it was okay. I mean, I wouldn't sit and watch it again. It's just not my kind of film. I'd sit and want to watch again. But I would love to see a book or behind the scenes on the production design of that film because
there's some clips on if you look online. A lot of
there's some stuff
like,
online.
partial sets and CG background. Big screen.
But it was pretty impressive visually. But that was about it for me. I don't think any of us have gone and seen Aquaman 2. You might see it this Wednesday. Yeah. Fair enough. Good luck.
Another thing sorry, I forgot to bring this one up.
Yeah.
Did you guys watch Leave the World Behind on Netflix yet?
No, I've heard people talking about it, but I haven't watched it.
Yeah, I know Malloy was watching that the other night when during one of my streams, but I think it's worth checking out. Okay. It's if you guys like Mr. Robot, it's like the same writer for that.
Fair enough.
But
any of the same actors for Mr. Robot?
No, just check Julia Roberts, Ethan Hawke, Mahershala Ali, and Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
But it's an end of the world kind of scenario where like it's like just kind of like you're withheld from what is actually happening and you're kind of dealing it more of a ground level version of like the end of civilization. So
right.
I don't know. It was a fun watch. It was something that me and Liz just kept talking about all week after watching it because we went into it like not knowing what the hell was going on or what it was about.
That's cool.
I just noticed Malloy was watching that and I was like, oh,
Right.
I should check that out. Malloy, you're the one who kind of convinced me to watch that one, even though you've been telling me to watch The Creator forever.
Yes, it's out there, Jason. You should be watching it. One of the other shows I started watching, I think we're up to episode 4 now, was Percy Jackson and the Olympian Gods. It's okay. I mean, there's nothing like I was expecting something a little more because people rave about the book, and it's good. It's not like a bad show, but I'm just like, I don't necessarily care for the pacing and the characters so much. It's weird. It's like I'm not seeing what people see from the book in the TV series itself. But I'll probably keep watching it. But it's like it's one of those shows that when you watch a show, you just have to know how it finishes, but you'll probably never watch it again, kind of thing. It's one of those for me, which is okay. I picked up the Blu-ray set of Babylon 5, which is an old show from the early 90s, but I loved it. One of my favorite shows out there, and I rewatched that on Blu-ray for the first time, which was really cool. And that's about it. I think we basically
like HD. Like, did they, or is it just like the quality they had then? Just
it's basically all TV shows like. Okay, so I'm going to put this as a justification. Star Trek: The Next Generation was still shot on film, edited, and then put onto television, so it becomes cheaper for them to transfer frame by frame a product off of film onto HD because they got the original print there. But when they hit the 90s, for shows like Deep Space Nine and Babylon 5 and Star Trek Voyager and shows of that caliber, they ended up by going to it was all done on I can't remember the name of it, but it was all shot on video rather than on film. And because everything was shot on video format, they ended up by losing a quality, and it becomes much more costly for them to transfer in this day and age a show or a series from that format into a HD format. And they did it, but it's definitely noticeable that it was just a rip off of it, and they did a good job. It was better quality. I've got the DVDs from that show, but the DVDs are 20 years old, and I've worn through them basically.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to watch that still, to watch a show from that era and then put it into Blu-ray, but it's still not quite the crispness that you would actually get from a TV show from that era. But it was still fun to rewatch. I watch it every couple of years, kind of thing. And I know there's something else I watched in between there. Oh, I'm rewatching One Piece again because I actually enjoyed it, the live action series. So been kind of catching an episode a night on that. Let's jump into stuff that we've
gateway to anime.
Yeah, right.
Actually, that's what Avatar is for you.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. We'll see.
Gateway drug.
We'll see how the live action Avatar becomes, but I'm kind of excited about them. Let's just talk about what we just recently watched. We recently watched What If. I still haven't watched episode 3 of What If yet. Jason, have you seen that?
Christmas episode, right?
Okay, so maybe Jason and I will sit down and do a reaction video because I haven't actually sat and watched that one yet. It's the only one out of the thing. But I just dropped the final couple of episodes of the season today. As a season, guys, the animation was even better and even more incredible than the first season, and I enjoyed the first season. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I hope they do it again. Keep doing it. It'd be nice if they did two of them a year or whatever. A little bit more.
Yeah,
it's a fun concept of a show. It's like low stakes.
Yeah,
you could do whatever you want. It's just like it's like a quick pace. More quick than I prefer, but how else are you gonna add all that content into one episode? So it's like breakneck speed.
Right. But I think we even mentioned the episode, I think it was episode 6 with Corey, the Native American kind of themed episode. I would love to see that as a feature film. I thought that was incredible. And it did feel like it was MCU, but it also didn't. It felt like it could have been its own separate entity story. Just
Yeah, right. Like
mythos. It was so good.
they connected it to the MCU
Mm-hmm.
because of like the Tesseract powers. Like it
Sure.
was an Infinity Stone that gave
Yeah.
them the
Yeah.
power. But what
Yeah.
makes me sad about watching that is that like the Queen and all the conquistadors are such
Mm-hmm.
bad guys.
Yeah.
In regular reality, they win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And like she's such an evil person. Like they make her
right.
seem
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? I'm a queen. You can't talk
Yeah.
to me like that, even though you're
Yeah.
doing all this magic in front of me.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's the thing that
Yeah.
makes me sad. But it's kind of
Yeah.
like it was exciting because like you get um Marvel tends to do that with I was comparing it to Wakanda,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like the indigenous win.
Yeah.
Like
No,
Wakanda
totally.
did it, and like
Yeah.
same with like Namor's
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're right.
kind of
From
origins.
DC. Yeah.
Yeah, just like ultimate giving power to
Yeah.
the indigenous.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of revision of a history is what is a catharsis that we like to see a lot because of
Yeah.
just learning history on
Yeah, you're
colonization.
learning
It's kinda
something.
like,
They are
the
trying to
bad
tell you
guys have-
something historical within a text without it being.
well, yeah, like
pushed down
as
your
you
throat,
learn
kind
and
of,
you learn history, it's like, oh, I guess the bad guys have always been winning, but
Sure.
what would happen if like the good guys won?
Yeah.
And they've kind of like established that history a lot in little pockets of that in the Marvel universe. But for the Americas, we needed a what if for this indigenous win.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I would like to see what other like indigenous wins they choose to do later, because like imperialism, we're learning like as you get older, you learn about history.
Mm-hmm.
The imperialists are bad guys.
Sure.
Like that type of stuff they do is so bad. Like so much death and so much colonization is like wiped out, and it's just genocide over and over again.
Yeah.
And so it was it's always refreshing to see something like that.
Yeah, totally. There was that. We've also got coming up next week. We start watching Echo for the first time. I'm not as necessarily interested in that right now, although we're getting the same thing. We are getting this indigenous character who is going to be taking us on this journey, but one that is also deaf and everything. With we saw her pop up there in Hawkeye. Yeah, and she was an interesting character. I still am not convinced of an entire series based around that character, but I'm hoping they'll prove us wrong and there'll be a step up in the storytelling, because compared to
that actress is such an inclusion dream.
Right.
She has a what is it? A prosthetic leg.
Yeah.
She's deaf.
Mm-hmm.
And she's of Native American descent. Like that's a
Yeah.
for right there, man, of inclusion.
Anchorman's excited because Daredevil's in it. Apparently there's some shots or images dropped. I haven't seen the latest trailer. I decided not to watch the latest trailer, but I think Daredevil is in this show as well. It makes an appearance.
Yeah, I mean, we enjoyed Hawkeye, right?
Sure.
So I think
that
level of that street level stuff.
Yeah.
That we've been kind of missing from the MCU.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, but then, I guess we'll see. Maybe we'll know next week. We'll start watching it. We'll start doing reactions and check it out.
Like the Anchorman asking right here, what if Brent was hit by the time stone and transferred to 2099?
What would you do, Brent?
Everyone would be like, what the hell are you talking about? Blu-rays, Brent? You don't do Blu-rays anymore.
I don't know.
Brent would be like, where's the Blu-rays? You guys don't sell Blu-rays anymore?
He'd have to catch up on a lot of Star Wars and see where it's at now. Like, he's like, I got a bunch of years to Star Wars.
Yeah, that's the first thing I'd do. That would be it. I would go watch all the latest Star Wars, Star Wars from the time I left.
If it were to continue, where would it? They would definitely have rebooted
into 2099. Oh my god!
They would have redone like episode 3 and all.
Yeah.
Already.
Yeah.
It'd be
But
like
then-
150 years.
Oh
of
yeah,
Star Wars.
yeah. We would be getting the entire. Well, this is part of what we're going to talk about. But I'd be able to sit down and watch the entire Rey saga, probably right through to when she's an old woman, because
Yeah.
right now they picked up. Okay, so a lot of the fanboys are kind of freaking annoyed, but this is the new director of the new Rey films, which is going to be a trilogy.
Well, it's weird
apparently.
because she hasn't directed any movies. She's only directed documentaries.
Right, yeah, but her name is Shamin Oban. I can't pronounce this properly. I know I'm going to mess it up. Oban Chile. I can't pronounce her name. Anyway,
working in Star Wars need
Yeah.
easier names for Brent.
You know what? This is. Yeah, hey, do you know how long it
Everybody involved in
takes?
Star
Do you
Wars
know how
has
long
crazy
it?
names now. And they're
Do you
hard
know
to
how long
pronounce,
it takes
so
me to remember an alien's name that they actually create as an alien creature in Star Wars?
Well, I know. Now the director sounds like.
Yeah, I know. The director sounds like a name of a creature in Star Wars, yeah. But yeah, she's the new director, and already there's this whole pile of BS with everybody's going on, oh no, get rid of Kathleen Kennedy because she's got female directors now. Oh my god. Oh my god. I can't stand these people. I really can't. I'm curious to see where the Rey story can be taken because I think we've all grieved our not as much enjoyment or fandom for the sequels as much. And I say that with a loose grain of salt. Sometimes shows like that, movies like that, take some time for people to settle in and kind of go what they liked about it, what they didn't like. And it's interesting. I think with episodes 7 and 8, I came out of both of those films really thoroughly enjoying them. And then slowly sat back and went, okay, there are things here that didn't work so well now that I realize, and it all sinks in and you're kind of taking in that information. So as I'm doing that, I'm kind of like, yeah, I would prefer to see something different with Rey. I would like to see a new story, her creating a new Jedi Order, if that's going to be the story they're going to tell. I don't know if I necessarily need to see any of the other side characters that existed in the sequel movies at all. I'm curious as to where they're going to take it.
Well, it's
got to have her Palpatine true roots of her Palpatine blood is going to come out.
Oh god, I forgot about that.
They're going to have to address that.
But
They can't like just she's a Skywalker because she's not. She's the bloodline of a freaking Palpatine.
Right.
This is a great opportunity for them to kind of narratively break away from the facets that like kind of curse Star Wars and how we kind of rely on that type of stuff. And I would like to see them address that through this character. Because that's what she was supposed to be in the first place, like there was a potential to her being that, how she was a nobody, and that anyone, it shouldn't be a legacy thing. And that was like the biggest mistake they did in the sequel trilogy is that just root it back to like a legacy.
Tie it into the main the main.
Yeah, it shows that like if you're not, unless you're born of like the blood of some greatness, that you're nothing.
Yeah.
And I don't.
And that was
like
the idea.
That.
The idea behind the Jedi was that they are born from nothing. They are orphan children for the most part, or Anakin was an orphan child. Well, not orphan, but he
was a space Jesus, dude.
He was but I'm saying like,
right.
but at the end of but then
space Jesus.
But they took it. I think one of the best things that they did at the end of The Last Jedi was the young kid who was the Force user. That any kid could be a Force user, and they were brought into that fold. And now that Ahsoka has kind of set out that anybody could use the Force, and here's the thing, that did come from George Lucas originally back in, I think it was in. I saw in a interview, a written text that George Lucas had actually said specifically, and I think it was from the prequels, that the idea was anybody could become a Jedi. And it was like, okay, that's interesting. I've never come across that text before, but it does exist. It's out there.
If you have the right.
Well, yeah, I guess
yeah.
he wrote that, but if you got, it
Right.
depends on your M count too,
Yeah.
Sure,
Like,
yeah.
That was kind of weird where they had kind of they had needed a way to explain how strong his force was.
Yeah.
Right.
So
But
they
then
kind of made this kind of a concept of like,
Right.
oh, you can measure this thing in your blood.
But
and
then
do
you
a blood test.
right.
For that,
but then
know?
if you break it down, is Han Solo force sensitive as well, just not that attuned? The idea of luck is a big thing with the force to a certain degree,
Okay, this is some deep. Nah, man.
Yeah.
I'm not buying into that.
Okay.
Like, he's such a good pilot because of the force.
No.
Right.
That ruins it for me. If that's the case, that is a disservice to the lore.
So
that
that does become the division. The idea that force sensitive people who grew up to be force sensitive. Obviously, Jedi is a whole separate thing, and Sith is a whole separate thing. But a force sensitive person has some sort of intuition there that as they get older, they obviously lose if there's no training involved. But the fact that it exists there in some children stronger, and they do get picked to go to the Jedi Temple, or they get killed off by the Sith, or for whatever.
Well, it's kind of like playing the piano. Some kids it comes naturally, but anyone could learn.
Yes,
So like there's some savants out there. So it's just trying to explain like the whole idea of savants, which is kind of like like alienating to a lot of people who struggle to try to be better. I mean, that's how you get a Sayalari.
Yeah.
So then you end up killing Mozart because keeping up with a savant. Come on, man.
Yeah. So that's where I'm going with this. I'm curious to see how, because they set this motion up in Ahsoka that anybody can be a Jedi, whether that's going to get lost and buried, and it becomes Rey taking on force sensitives only to start training into a new Jedi, order.
Is this a single one Rey movie, or is this they're saying it's a Rey?
No, it's. They're at this point they're pointing out to be a trilogy. From what I understand, they're in pre-production as of now, and they're going to be doing casting between now and the next few months. Then they're going to go into pre-production by spring, which means they're going to shoot it soon. And they've also the tentative release date is 2026.
Whoa,
Lucasfilm had not officially announced it, but I'm excited to see Star Wars on the big screen again. I need that. I think a lot of us need that.
I need that.
I need that. I do. I need that. I need to.
Addiction.
And B, it's also going to be something that gets released in the December time period too. So I'm assuming it'll be opposite every other Avatar film, James Cameron's Avatar series films in the future. So it would be 1 year it'll be an Avatar film, and the next year it'll be another Star Wars film.
You got to share Manhattan Studios.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Although most of what they do in there, I think, is shot in New Zealand now, from what I understand. But anyway, for the Avatar stuff.
But yeah, so that's what you'd want to see, just like a whole new Jedi Order.
I'd like to see I would like to see them step away from the Skywalker
Empire versus Jedi.
Yeah, Empire versus Jedi. Give Rey something new to go up against. It shouldn't be necessarily a Sith. Maybe it's something that eventually could form to be a new Sith order. But I feel like a bunch of rocks. But I feel like it would be cool to see a redevelopment of the Jedi and a redevelopment of the Sith. In a new form that we haven't seen, that hasn't come before it. And that's going to involve, obviously, really good storytelling to make us get invested into this new world or this new time period and this new order. Because we know nothing beyond the end of the last film, the Rise of Skywalker. Star Wars are kept away from it from books, more or less from comics. There is stuff that...
You're just not allowed to go
leave it open
past that.
Sure, at least not canon. At least not canon-wise. So...
Well, you got to consider. Let's look at what Rey is as a character.
You try something new.
Yeah.
What is Anchorman like? What's new?
Yeah. What's new? What's new, Anchorman? What do you consider new?
What could Star Wars do?
And Jason, you had to say?
Oh, I mean, let's consider what type of character Rey is. She's pretty much Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, and Princess Leia wrapped up in one.
Sure.
Like they've made it that way. She's an awesome pilot. She's super force sensitive.
Yeah.
And she's the protagonist.
Yeah.
So like, would she be like a starfighter Jedi, like be doing that type of stuff, or just starting a school? Which honestly I think is boring.
That sounds
like
boring
if it's just like a school, you know, it's like I'm teaching.
Maybe
Jedi.
it's going out. Maybe it's going out looking for these force sensitives.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Maybe there's like passing the torch. Maybe introducing a younger kid who is like super force sensitive and kind of scary. Like
now, there is
like
a character.
Kind of redoing like a episode 1 type deal where they find this kid in the middle of nowhere who is like wreaking havoc, kind of like a looper kind of kid, just accidentally killing people and stuff like that. You know, like there's weird stuff, and like they go there, and it's these like settlers saying that there's a ghost in the mountains or something like that, and like the trees are growing weird, and they find out that there's this like kid who's stronger than anyone in Force history is, and like I guess it's a fight for that kid's soul. I don't know. That's just off the cuff.
Here's the thing: if Anakin was supposed to be the most powerful of them all, and yet Rey steps in, gains power at such quick potential and such quick energy in such a short time, and I think that goes back to the filmmaking process of a bad idea. I know why they had to uber up Rey quickly, because they wanted this character to be someone who was skilled enough for you to follow. But I feel like the fact that she came from nowhere and did this, and again, you know, they tie it into being Palpatine's granddaughter and stuff like that. But
they needed someone. They They introduced Kylo Ren, who's super powerful. So they needed a
but he had training. We know he had training from a child.
I know that. I know he had training, but this is what I'm saying. They introduced like a really strong Sith. And so they needed someone on the good guy's side to match up to that. And so they kind of speed runned her skill level,
which I think was a problem for the character and the idea of Anakin, was it diminishes Anakin's trial of getting there as a child who becomes the most powerful, of all, right through to the point that he can even beat out, doing all the evil things he did to become a Force ghost. I mean, that alone is something that makes Anakin so powerful, as he could get to and reach that level. But Rey, I feel like Rey didn't necessarily deserve that quick. Yeah, she didn't earn the quick rise to the powers she gained. And
that was the main critiques of the Force Awakens, was that
totally,
Max Landis coined the term a Mary Sue. I mean, he didn't coin that term, but he used that term to describe her.
Yeah.
How she's just like too strong, and it wasn't earned.
Yeah. And so it's like
they tried to retroactively explain that.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But we are stuck with a very powerful Force user character who's very young in the character of Rey. So we have to deal with that and move on, which is one of those things that I have to deal with too, because it's like I still don't accept that kind of speed to power so quickly for a character in what George Lucas created, which was a process that had to get there. So how do you step back from that and rebuild this thing? And I think, I would like to see Rey going off on missions of her own and tentatively sending kids back to wherever the Jedi Temple is. Maybe Hu Yang is a character that is a crossover that comes through. I would love, he's been around for 10,000 years, so I'm sure that Hu Yang, the droid from Ahsoka, would very well be kind of cool to keep there under that new trainership. That way he could take care of the kids in the Jedi Temple and teach them the basics, but we could follow the story of Rey going off there, getting these kids, going on these adventures, figuring out all this, this trouble, and finding new enemies in that process, which would be kind of fun. That's my hopes and goals. We'll revisit it in a few years' time when this film comes out, I'm sure.
Yeah, I just can't help but think of what would fix the sequel trilogy instead of thinking of moving forward from it, It was so cursed that all I think of is how to make the Rise of Skywalker not exist and be better.
And
that's all I can only wrap my head around.
Not
Like,
remember, not think about it.
yeah, it's hard to move forward from where that left off
Sure.
because I don't accept it. You know,
Yeah.
it's like I don't like it. I don't want to move off from there. I want to.
Yeah, pretty much every point of that
last
movie
part.
is bad. Every storyline, every point of that
and
movie
if
just
we're
doesn't
stuck
line
with
up.
that as canon, oh god, it's ugly.
But you know, I've learned to move on from that personally, and I'm prepared, as I said, to pick up on the Rey character 10 years later. Where is she now? What is she
We
doing?
got no choice,
And-
you know.
we
But
got no
I'm just
choice,
saying,
but-
that's just like what I think. And that's all I could think about in my head.
Brent is committed to his Star Wars relationship, and he's going to work it out. He's
I'm ready to
moving
just
through
drop her. dude.
moving through the hard stuff, and just like moving on.
Anchorman says he would like to see new characters, new world, different kind of villains, something different that we would not expect to see, nor saying in the familiar characters, something just unexpected. I agree. Something unexpected would be fun.
What I would like to see is something that I won't be able to predict myself. You know,
Sure,
like I shouldn't be able to think of a better story than what I actually end up watching.
But Star Wars is not
Right?
Star Wars is a kids show, so usually you're going to get hand fed
stop,
a little
stop
bit along.
using that.
No.
Stop
But you
using
are.
that
But you
as-
no.
It appeals to
No,
everybody. Not
no.
a kids film, but
They have
a movie
young-
that appeals to all ages.
Yeah, they have the youngling show to take care of that. Like it could grow up, and it shouldn't be afraid to grow up. And you got like all the cartoons. So yeah, we should stop. We should stop saying that like it belongs to kids because it obviously doesn't.
He's calling everybody's mad. I'm not. You know, he's like saying I'm mad at him because yeah.
But
Yeah,
no,
but
that's what I mean.
the
Like,
prequels,
Star
but the
Wars-
prequels are aimed for kids, and they're now adults who
the
admire
prequels
that
aren't
stuff.
good.
And yet kids who are kids, we're going to go through this again, aren't we?
Brent
So the
says
kids who
this-
were kids at the time of the prequels have learned to admire them, and Anakin Skywalker and
Well,
Padme
they like
and
they like other stupid things too that were on was on TV at that point.
Sure.
Too.
Brent says this is for kids, and how many beheadings happen in these movies? Like, dude, come on! It
Look
doesn't
at all
know
those
what it
kids'
wants to
toys
be.
you have behind you.
Like,
Yes.
it doesn't know what it wants to be. You want to watch Christopher Lee get his head chopped off? Like, you call that for kids?
Yeah,
you want to see a
it's
kids massacred? You want to see a genocide?
That's what kids
Totally
like to watch these days, I guess.
No,
Or back
dude,
in
it's
the
not-
20
it's not-
years ago.
It's not just for kids, and
Also-
I don't think that's a valid excuse for bad writing. you know?
Just throwing that out there, but the Phantom Menace is 25 years old this year, just so you know, for
Whoa.
context. I know.
God.
That's crazy. Huh? Yeah.
Yeah, the prequels have gotten love lately because, like, you know, it just needed time to age like a wine. You know, I have no issue with them. Attack of the Clones is trash, kind of, you know.
But when was the last time you rewatched Attack
I
of the
have no
Clones?
issues with them. Attack of the Clones is trash. It's like you like immediately like
Oh wow, we just lost Elijah. What a shame.
I watched it recently enough to reaffirm that because it is not that great.
I
mean,
enjoy
all I gotta
it
do
as
is just
much as-
explain. Yeah, there's parts that I enjoy, like you get to see Coruscant.
There
you
was
get to see
definitely a lot
Star.
of context and dialogue that went into
They-
that
they
film.
introduced
but there was
the-
a lot to explain. Yeah.
They introduced the concept of death sticks.
that sticks. You want to die?
Well, okay,
You wanna-
Blaine.
you wanna
I
kill
mean,
yourself?
Brent, explain to me
Yeah.
Jango Fett's attempt to kill Padme.
Jango Fett?
Yeah,
In what sense? In to kill her?
to assassinate her. What was his
Doesn't he
plan?
hire the
Oh,
other
the plan?
the other shape-shifting one to go and
Because
All right, he
Caterpillars
outsources
in
it to a shapeshifter who he
Right.
saved the life of in the
who
Clone
drops the
Wars, right?
caterpillars on the
Yeah.
floor?
And then she hires a robot, and the robot hires caterpillars.
yeah.
And then when this all doesn't work somehow, Jango Fett uses a traceable dart to kill the person he hired instead of just shooting the two Jedi that find her. And anyways, like they both run off after this robot. Why didn't someone just come and kill her then? There's just too much to complain about in that movie.
People going to do something and have a motive, and they can botch the motive. I mean, that's what happened. It was a botched motive.
Jango Fett is
No.
the worst.
It's kind of a weird room for a princess to have right in front of a glass window, right in front of a building that anybody can access. That's like just cut a little hole into, like they're jewel thief and throwing some growing caterpillars.
Anyway, just we're gonna move on.
And how powerful is
Brent doesn't
Padme's-
like it when we
No. I just got other things.
No. Star Wars, there's no infallible. It's good.
The last thing I want to say about on Geonosis. How powerful is Padme's crotch that she's able to jump down 20 feet and land on a saddle like that? That's megatons on her crotch.
She did lots of yoga.
Pilates,
she does.
Kegels.
She's firm. She's tight.
Maybe Geonosis is a lighter, dense atmosphere, and it makes you shut up.
See, when you have to explain stuff like that, that's how you know it's like, it's flawed,
I said maybe.
Natalie
maybe.
Portman only weighs 85 pounds, so
it's
she kind of
sci-fi.
down.
There's stuff I do like though. I like that the Geonosians kind of are reminiscent to the Roger battle droids, how they kind of model them off themselves and stuff, which is a dead race canon right now.
Yeah, I know.
They
yeah,
are
they
gone
were killed off
and
by the
completely
Empire. Yeah.
wiped out.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a kids show. Genocide is a common theme in these kids shows.
Yep. No, it's up there. Just recently, Ahsoka's got a couple of nominations from the CDGA. I don't even know what that is. There's so many awards that are being given out these days. The costume design for Ahsoka also has been nominated, which, of course, Shauna Trippick, I think her name is pronounced as, she passed away last year, which is kind of sad, but she's done all the TV show stuff from Mandalorian onwards. So she's getting some, at least some nods there, even after her passing. And then, of course, Mandalorian did get a award for Emmy for best stunt performance. Yeah, there was a couple of things. Andor didn't get a single award. I was surprised. It did not make a single award on the visuals or anything like that. But there was a lot of competition.
Wasn't that last year though?
No. Remember, everything that would have been put through would have been done in September, or the Emmys would have been in September normally. So they've actually counting it to that date, and then anything after that, whatever. But it still was considered last year. It was all part of the original awards from 2022 into 2023.
Brent didn't like Andor Anchorman.
No, but I've rewatched it.
It was too grown up for him.
It was. There
you go.
It was too well written for Brent to enjoy it.
But no, there were things that worked and there were things that didn't work. It's like anything.
Just like Attack of the Clones.
There you go. There's like anything in Star Wars. There's things that worked and things that did not work. Season 3 of Mandalorian was recognized for stunt performance, but Andor was not
many bricks.
Didn't make any awards. It was quite surprised.
Lame, dude. I hate that.
Yeah.
Deserves all the awards.
Forgotten.
Yeah.
I saw a thing. You guys follow Eckhart's Ladder on YouTube? It's a prolific Star Wars YouTuber. Mm-hmm. He had a story about like marriages that were destroyed by Andor.
Really?
Yeah, people watching the show and getting into political arguments that have
really? Oh, wow.
Has ended a marriage, at least one.
That's funny.
On the record.
That sucks, but it's still funny.
But for it to have this much of impact of a discussion like that,
yeah,
I don't know of any other Star Wars, unless it's Star Wars itself causing a marriage to, if you're buying a Millennium Falcon Lego set without your wife knowing.
Anyway. This is the one I'm going to keep in the box, honey. The other one was to open and play with.
All right, so
$800, dude. Jeez.
It's a deal. It's a deal price. Like it's a deal. Yeah, it's an expensive deal. Yeah.
That's like 3 Hot Toys, Brent. You could have had 10 Millennium Falcons.
Mm-hmm.
Lego Millennium Falcon.
I have no interest in building Lego Star Wars for some reason, or Lego in general. I just not anymore. I guess my priorities changed over the years.
You'd rather open up dolls? Yeah.
Yeah,
Legos are way fun, man.
but I get
Those
to
are
make
way
my
more
but I
fun
get to
than-
make my own, but I get to make my own display things. The Lego is put by.
Oh, boy.
I think it's the
It's
put.
like, I'd rather unbox a doll.
It was built
Dude,
by. I think it's the build by numbers that kind of bored me a little bit with Lego when I was a kid. I like to be able to have a full palette of Legos
Once
and
they
just
use those
make my
illegal
own
moves.
things.
Cut them in half and use. Oh, that looks better.
No. I'm just make my own things, and I was more creative that way than I was.
Oh, the X-Men,
With-
the X-Jet
yeah.
would be awesome, Anchorman. I gotta say that one of
Yeah.
the best Lego sets to get out there right now is the Daily Bugle. You get like all the Avengers in there.
you
I still want the
said that,
Lego
yeah.
Ghostbusters Firehouse. I
Cool.
would like the Lego Simpsons house too.
Yeah. Oh, that would be cool. My
Not any room for those.
Liz's brother-in-law, we got him the Optimus Prime Lego for Christmas.
Yeah.
And I went to their place, and he has the Home Alone house.
Ooh.
Oh wow.
Dude,
Oh,
it
they
is.
made that?
Everything is in it. The
Wow.
like
Yeah.
Buzz's tarantula.
Oh,
Is in it.
wow.
Like,
wow.
yeah, you could open up the house and it's like wired through, lit up.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
That's
and
crazy.
it plays
Like,
music.
Wow, that's cool.
They definitely do a good job
Got
with
all
with
this
their
stuff, and
their
it's got like
products.
the treehouse and the zip line. Dude, it's crazy. You got the ice on the steps.
Oh
in the
wow.
back.
Easier to design them now in a computer, and they can just it like automatically populates like
Yeah.
this is how you put it together type thing.
Yeah, actually, Star Wars has a lot to do with like the evolution of
Oh, sure.
minifigures.
I know. Oh
It's
yeah.
got the first skin color minifigure with Lando Calrissian.
Ooh,
Like they
Lando
came,
Calrissian.
yeah, because of Lando, did they decide to start doing flesh colors because
cool.
everything was yellow. before
Yellow.
that.
Mhm. Yep.
But then like they did Cloud City,
Mhm.
and they were like, all right, we have Lando, we can't just make him
Yeah,
brown, so they had to
Yeah.
add a new color
Yeah.
to the minifigures, and then that just started everything. And now they do all flesh colored, all skin colors.
Have
So
you guys
gotta
been
thank
to-
that to Lando?
Have you guys been to Legoland down in San Diego?
I've been there once.
Yeah. It's worth
Carl
it.
said.
It's actually kind of cool. It's actually really cool.
When Enzo's old,
Yeah,
enough.
when Enzo's old enough.
trying-
Yeah.
I'm trying to groom Enzo to be into Legos.
Yeah.
No,
totally.
what I
have
don't
an
think you need to
excuse.
like. I don't think you need to like try. Like I'm sure. You can do it.
No,
Yeah.
I already opened up.
He just needs another year or two. Then
Yeah.
he'll be ready.
I
for
opened
it.
up his Duplo sets, and he shouldn't even be playing with those because those are like ages 3 and up. I think.
No, but here's the thing. When my just cutting out from all this, but when my niece and nephew were born, my brothers were telling me, kids these days are much more in tune to much older things. I guess the biggest thing is making sure kids don't decide to choke on something. Is the biggest.
That's what I
issue.
mean. Like
That's
it's
just bad parenting. That's the bad parenting of the 80s.
creatively, but creatively, yeah, but
That's what it was.
creatively,
It's a
but
bad
crea-
parenting of the 80s.
Yeah,
Kids,
yeah,
kids were just
Yeah.
swallowing anything. Because kids,
sure.
parents weren't
well,
watching.
they
their kids.
still do. You just got to watch them more.
Yeah, you just got to watch them. But the thing is that you got to give the kid more credit that when they say something is for 3 to 4 year olds, that a 2-year-old is starting to put the pieces together if they're
Yeah.
shown. It's an early learning process.
Yeah.
So sometimes I always find it's good to have it laying around. They may not get it right away, but if they've got it continually over and over again over those next couple of years, they're going to learn that much quicker and be more advanced with that sort of stuff, I think, than a kid who doesn't.
I wish I added the Millennium Falcon to his baby shower registry.
The
Players got the
$800
weight.
Yeah, that might be like I think you would have
Like,
I
wait
would
a
have
minute.
difficulty putting that Lego Millennium Falcon together without the instruction. Oh, without the instruction, it'd be virtually impossible.
Oh yeah, their techniques are crazy. I don't know
sure.
about not instructions. I mean, I understand like Transformers without instructions because I used to try to do that.
Sure.
But like Legos without instructions,
Yeah.
who do you think you are?
No.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, let's move on for a little bit. The other thing they dropped over the break was a few new Ghostbusters posters,
Yeah, these are cool.
which they're pretty cool. I mean, it's kind of generically, obviously
Cool.
snow.
Whatever. I like it. Back in New York,
Yeah.
Empire State Building. It
Yeah,
feels
yeah.
good. Like
Yeah.
this is more feeling Ghostbustery.
Sure.
Hopefully, it's a
Yeah.
little bit more.
Yeah. Well, we've got like.
Hopefully, this one's better than the last.
See, you enjoyed it enough, but you were still critical on it. I
I like it,
Yeah,
but there are
yeah.
things in it just like, whoa, just that just don't make sense.
Yeah, it definitely be. We all want to be better than the second Ghostbusters. I think that's not too hard to do. Right?
Oh, but Ghostbusters Part 2 has like, I don't know. It's like
they got the dark suits.
It's this soft spot.
It's cool. You got the
you got
Rick
Bobby
Moranis.
Brown. You got it's just a
Yeah.
different time.
It was like the Ghostbusters press tour.
Did you see this, Elijah? Empire dropped also some exclusive images. Yeah, with yeah. So we're not getting a lot. We're obviously not getting too much on the ghosts. Although
go back to that photo.
Yeah.
Go back. It's just a reminder that Bill Murray is actually like 6'2" or something.
Oh yeah.
He's really tall.
Oh,
yeah, but so is
they haven't seen each other since Ant-Man.
I know, but he's taller than him, and just people don't realize how tall Bill Murray is.
I didn't know that was ever in discussion.
Yeah. But then if you have a look in there, if you look really, really closely, you can see Slimer in the background too. So we've got the return of Slimer, which would be kind of fun. Again, I don't know. Until we get a second trailer, until we know where this is going.
Nostalgia bait.
Yeah. Paul Rudd, thank you. Yes. Yeah, Paul Rudd. Yeah. I'm looking forward to... I think we're all looking forward to seeing it.
It's great. This is like targeted to you guys. That's what this is. That's what these movies are for.
Sure.
Like, then the other kids are just like, oh, what's that green guy? He's cool.
Yeah. Oh, the movie. Oh, come on, kids. This is a movie for
who are these old guys?
Yeah.
Like, they'll see Bill Murray. Who's this old guy?
Yeah. I still feel that they did a good enough job from taking, from our generation to a newer generation of,
the last one
with the last one.
They're banking on that we take our kids to go see this movie.
Sure, and then they're going to connect some toys. But they're going to connect with the kids who are in the film itself.
If I had a kid and I took my hypothetical kid to see Ghostbusters, and this hypothetical kid liked Ghostbusters, I would go buy every Ghostbusters toy I could to make my son happy. Whatever.
You would have to buy two of them because you're going to have one that's in the box, and the other one you let the kid open.
If I did have kids, I probably would do that. Like on the good toys, I would be like, I'm going to buy one and keep it and just not tell them about it, and then one day I'm like, here, I have a bunch of your old toys in boxes still.
That's cool. Yeah,
it's expensive though.
I know, but on some of the good ones, it's like I buy two of them and let them play with one, and then years later you're like, look, I actually saved one for you, and it's in a box.
Yeah, I know. I still wish I had my Stayed Puft. But
there's stuff that I wish I had.
Mine got all highlighter markered all over him and stuff. Just like
yeah. No, that's the thing there.
God,
so
Stayed Puft. That Stayed Puft reveal in the first movie is one of the best moments in
movie history. It's movie history. It's better than King Kong. It's so great.
Yeah.
And the setup of it. Just the how they get into there's a giant state.
Don't think of anything.
Don't think of anything.
They dropped that. They planted that seed early on in the movie.
What did you do, Ray?
Yeah.
Just pop in there.
It's so good, man. It's like, that's the part that I like. Nothing could beat that.
The head peeking out between the water towers on the top of the hill,
and then just they pulled it off so well. It just stayed pucked. Like the most adorable thing coming to destroy the world. It's God.
The Pillsbury Doughboy stepping on you.
Yeah, dude. It's such a good reveal. That's a best moment in movie history, in my opinion.
That was cool. So let's move on. So, all right, Jason, you've watched Avatar: The Last Airbender, right? All 3 seasons of the animated cartoon.
Yeah, it's been a while. I watched it
right, and then
a long time ago.
For those out there, Elijah has not watched the animated show.
They already know. They were like, whatever.
Well,
stop shaming Elijah for you.
No. I always put it out there because somebody new might be watching that might go, oh, look, Avatar: Last Airbender, who knows what? And
we should talk about There Will Be Blood.
Yeah, we'll talk about
Brent hasn't watched this great piece of artistry that is There Will Be Blood.
Okay.
And let's
That's a movie I'd love to make Brent watch. Anyway, moving on to what I want to talk about.
No, I'm just that's what I set up for people to click on.
I know about Avatar. I've known about Avatar. All right. I've known for the long time.
I think it's kind of hard to. It's kind of hard to avoid. It's like not knowing who Hello Kitty is.
Okay, tell us about this map then, Elijah. What do you know about the map?
And the gray bluish area, that's water. See? Okay, and the other parts are land. Okay.
So the idea with Avatar is that you've got 4 natures. You've got fire, water, air, and earth, of course, which is the elements of everything on the planet. And that is what this show is more or less based around, is those elements. And at some point...
fire beats water and water...
colonization.
Not quite like that. Yeah. But certain groups of people are given these powers. Eventually you learn the backstory in Korra, which is actually really a cool backstory. But that's another story. But our live action stuff, you've got 3 main characters that you follow. Avatar, which is Aang. And then you've got Korra and Sokka. Which are brother and sister. Sokka has no powers whatsoever, and Korra has got water bending. She's like a very basic water bender. Now, they find Aang in a frozen state, and he's been frozen for 100 years, and he was the last Avatar that actually was around, and nobody knows why he's frozen in water and why this Avatar has been missing for 100 years.
Avatar is supposed to connect all the nations.
It's supposed to connect all the nations.
All of the stuff they could do: earth bending, air bending, water, and fire.
Yeah,
and kind of unite the world.
Yeah, but one of the most powerful nations is the firebending nation, and they've actually had a 100-year war with everybody else on the planet. And the goal is that
kind of like how Japan colonized all these countries back in the day.
Yeah.
Like they just relentlessly colonizing China and Korea.
Yeah.
It's like kind of nodding to that.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So ultimately, you've got these 2 characters who find Aang and pulling him out of the Avatar, pull him out of this frozen state just by pure coincidence and luck. Wasn't
that it was the absence of an avatar that led the world to where it is?
Correct. Exactly. Yeah. Now, the Avatar is the only one in the world who has all 4 powers: airbending, waterbending, firebending, and earthbending, which is basically controlling the elements around them and using them to attack and defend and all that sort of stuff. And you discover that Aang kind of has no memory about why he has disappeared for this 100 years. All he knows is he wakes up, and when he wakes up, it lets off an alert that the Fire Nation, specifically one character in particular, decides to go searching for him to basically control him, take him back as a prisoner, and that's Zuko, who is Zuko, I should say. And he basically is a kind of mistreated character. He's a sad character who
is haunted by his dad's legacy.
Haunted by his legacy. His father is the Fire Lord Ozai, and this Fire Lord is basically a ruthless kind of person. So
you've got this responsible for the colonization that he's trying to do.
Yeah, exactly.
His son is like the next in line.
Yeah,
it's a generational thing. So you kind of have this element of like breaking generational obligations.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of like what makes the Avatar really good, Avatar the Last Airbender really good, is all like the incorporated philosophies.
Yeah,
of like Buddhism, like colonization. There's like Tai Chi, all of this stuff, and then like the main purposes of Kung Fu. Are more, instead of like using them to fight, you use them to kind of bring peace to yourself and peace to everyone else around, instead of just being used as a weapon. And like the great thing about Avatar The Last Airbender is they incorporate all of these concepts and build this kind of rich lore using these concepts that are very earthly. And kind of using them to kind of in these group of characters and like their growth and stuff like that. But like it's great because I think Aang's reason for leaving, he's like a lot of anxiety from being the Avatar, so he kind of ran away.
Yeah,
and in doing that, that's when he got lost and trapped
the,
in the ice.
the other cool thing about this show is that he's a kid. Most avatars reach their highest potential when they're fully grown adults, and this is a kid who's been thrust.
He's
with
like Rey
entire...
Skywalker.
Yeah.
He basically, but he's more like Anakin, really. He's got this power that is there that he has to learn to control. And
what's frustrating
really
for a
cool,
lot of the bad guys is that like seeing this kid
that's really cool
with this immense power, something that they thirst for, gives them a lot of resentment. But it's nice. It's just why it's good for kids because they could the main characters are all kids and adults kind of fight each other.
Which might be interesting to see how Elijah reacts to that, because I don't know, Elijah's got this, when connecting with kids' stories.
I like this kid. Put him in a hotel with his dad. Put him in a hotel over the winter with his dad and his mom, in Oregon, and let's see what happens with this.
Okay, fair enough.
What is this attack on Elijah, Brent?
What? It's not an attack on Elijah. I'm just saying.
He's a monolith of stuff.
Anytime I bring up music, he's like, "Okay, the next subject. Let's just move on. We don't care what Elijah has to say."
All right.
No,
but anyway,
let's make Brent watch Spinal Tap or something like that.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh my goodness.
Ultimately, when Aang hits the Avatar state, which is basically he learns to control he has all four elements at his disposal at once, and he very rarely hits that level, but it's kind of cool. Aang has also got so all the creatures in this world are kind of slightly different. We got like a flying bison, which is like Avatar's Aang's personal little bison. We got little creatures that are Mumu, which is like a little pet creature based from the animation into the live action. So they're getting very, very literal with the designs and everything of these characters.
You know what? You gotta give it up for Avatar for creating a whole new fantasy genre.
Yeah,
which is like kind of the Asian, more Asian aesthetic, like fantasy world.
Yeah.
Kind of like I don't know if you guys watched what was that one? Oh my god! Oh man, it just left my head. Raya. The Disney's.
I haven't seen it. No.
Oh, you haven't watched it?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's kind of like it's like that.
Right.
It's like this kind of that genre, Asian fantasy, which I think is cool because there's a lot of cool concepts.
Yeah.
That they have.
But it's always been there in the culture, because even if you go back to the old
because
70s,
ancient China, but it's never like a fantasy land that is not on Earth. You know what I mean?
I don't know. See, you go back to shows like in the 70s, a show called Monkey, which came from...
The Monkeys?
No, Monkey. Wrong Monkeys.
I know.
No, Monkey. It was a China, I think it was Chinese oriented based characters, but it dealt with, mythical creatures and stuff like that. In this case...
We're talking about Journey to the West with like the monkey and the pig and...
Yeah, but it's called Monkey.
It's called Journey to the West. It's an ancient Chinese fairy tale. It takes place in China.
Right, but you've seen
that's not an out of this world thing. It's not like Conan the Barbarian. Like they're able to like create this fantasy like Western world,
right?
Like Conan the Barbarian. That's what I mean. Like,
but the creatures within it, the characters within it are partial.
From Chinese lore,
right? Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
No, but I see that differently from like something like Avatar, which is a completely new world built into fantasy, kind of like Lord of the Rings.
Sure. Yeah.
Like how that doesn't take place in any Earth history, whereas Journey to the West has been a kind of fairy tale that's been told in China for generations. Like that's what that is. So you get like the zodiac animals are all in there.
Yeah.
That's established in Chinese lore.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to say, what makes Avatar different, is it creates a whole new world that is not necessarily China or Japan or any of that, but it's Asian centric. Just the same way dwarves are somewhat like very European based. The same with elves and
a lot of that
Lord of the
also
Rings.
develops with their creatures, with their animals. They're usually two animals forged into one. For example, Mumu is like what's it
Like a
called?
lemur bat.
Lemur
yeah.
bat. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I
Uh,
know. I
and
understand that. Like,
right,
but
but that's where I was going with trying to explain it to Elijah as such. So
You don't. Why?
we don't need to
You
explain
don't
all
need
this
to
I
explain
stuff.
it
think
to me.
okay, all right,
Don't,
okay,
I swear to you, I've
Right.
known about this character
Okay.
for over 25
Right.
years. I know it was a manga, it was a comic book, it was a cartoon. Like
Right.
I'm familiar with it. I never gravitated towards it. But if you want to break it down, that's fine.
Brent
don't,
recently
you know.
watched. This is new. This is all new to Brent too.
I only watched it 4 years ago for the first, or
Yeah.
3 years ago
But
for the first
this
time.
new
Yeah.
series
Yep.
that's coming out on Netflix does look visually a lot better than anything I've seen so far.
No, it really does.
Even it looks more visually interesting to me than the cartoons and all the other stuff. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind giving it a shot of watching.
Yeah. They did drop some new character images over the last couple of weeks, though. So we've got several characters here, which are in the original one. So June is a character. She's like a bounty hunter, which is interesting. We didn't see her turn up until season 2. So they're doing a lot of things in season 1 that appear to be kind of... It feels like, from what I understand, they're going to be following the direction of the story, which deals with a prophecy of a comet that's going to crash to Earth, and when it come past Earth, and when it comes past, it's going to make Ozai the most powerful, fire lord ever, with all the power of the universe. It's basically going to make him as powerful as the Avatar, naturally, and they've got this
bad guy.
Yeah, you've got this natural deadline of the story where it's going to be basically, it builds up to the end of the story that Aang has to kind of learn a bit more about his... I mean, even though he's young, he needs to learn about each of his powers a bit more. He needs to be taught by a professional, of a Fire Lord, of a water nation person.
But he ran away before that was able to.
He ran away before that happened. So basically... Aang is going to be dealing with this whole learning process at the same time as the audience is learning with him, as he gains his power. So that's what is going to make this story interesting. By traveling the world of their world, he's going to learn these different powers of how to use the earthbending a lot more. And even though he's got these powers when he comes into the world, he needs someone to really train him how to focus those powers like anything. And of course, he comes from a monk kind of based thing as an airbender in this lifetime. Of course, when he dies, he goes to another form, and usually it becomes the next avatar is usually like a waterbender or a firebender or a earthbender.
You ever watched?
It could be you literally could be female or male.
You guys ever watched Little Buddha?
I haven't actually.
Little Buddha?
Yeah, remember that movie?
I never saw it.
Keanu Reeves plays Buddha.
Oh, really?
It's a hunt for like finding the reincarnation of the.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, it's such an old ass movie.
Oh,
what's
really
her name
old, right?
From Jackie Brown? What's her name?
Pam Grier.
Not Pam Grier. The white girl.
Oh, the white girl. Oh,
Stoner. What's her name?
Bridget Fonda.
Yeah, Bridget Fonda. She's in it. But it's pretty much that. Like it's an introduction to like Buddhism, how like people are hunting for the reincarnations of the...
Man, I haven't even heard of that. I mean, I haven't thought about that. It's funny that you mentioned
It's the best cinematic representations.
I've never actually
I don't think I've ever seen that on a DVD or whatever. I remember seeing that like long
Watch it on
time ago,
YouTube. But it's the best like cinematic representation of Buddha's life.
Oh,
like it's like, you ever read Siddhartha? It's like one of the books I've read a lot. It's pretty much just Buddha's story.
Okay.
But it's pretty much that. You get like Keanu Reeves playing Siddhartha, and he's like fresh off of what did he just wrap up? What did he just do after this? It was this pre-Speed. I think it was right before.
Right before Speed, before.
But yeah, like the passing of the Avatar is pretty much just Buddhism. Like they die, and the soul
is
reincarnated into a kid, and he was told this early on, or found out early on, and he was just, the weight of this responsibility was too much for him. That he kind of ran away and then got lost, and then the world went to shit.
Yep, pretty much. Yeah, he got frozen. The world went to shit.
It's
More or
all
less.
his
But
fault.
but the idea of
He has to deal
responsibility,
with that.
and that's also one of the really cool stories about learning on this journey, is that the idea of responsibility is also a really great message in this story for that character, which is a lot of fun too. So,
But then it is like,
cool.
I mean, he found out accidentally, right? Is that what he
Um,
found out too
no,
early, or
no,
he
no.
like overheard the monks talking or something? And then he ran away because he was like, "No, I'm just a kid. I want to play. Like I don't want to do that." And he,
That's it. Yeah, I mean, just the end of the
but
day
like,
is just a kid. So yeah,
but yeah, it shows that like the world fell apart when they broke out of that tradition. It kind of was helping keep the world together, but with
yeah.
this vacuum of power happened, that's when the Fire Nation rose and kind of.
Now, the other thing that also involves is there is a technological aspect to this show, and it's a very pre-industrial kind of technological aspect. But there's a character in this, they're going to do him in live action too, called the Machinist. So they've got this character who comes in who is good at tinkering with a bit of mechanical stuff. So that's going to be, it's interesting to see where that develops, because eventually, by the time the spin-off series Legend of Korra comes in, they're in the early 20s. Like, she's the next Avatar, but they're in the early 20s of technological vehicles that drive and stuff like that, which is kind of, again, they've created an incredible world of wealth of depth to this world, about how both technology mimics our civilization to a certain degree, but how not religion, but how spiritual is also, kind of cast aside at times, stuff like that. This is very interesting, term draw.
It's like, did you guys watch Onward?
Onward?
I did, yes, yeah,
No.
Yeah, it's
yeah,
kind of like that. How like
yeah,
magic used to be the dominant like source
yeah.
of
That's it.
power, and then
Yeah,
technology came, and then people
yeah,
start forgetting about magic,
yeah,
and they just like turn into a modern world where magic
yeah,
is just like kind of a
yeah,
fairy tale type of
yeah.
thing, but it's
Although
still,
Avatar is not quite there yet, because
but they
it's
don't go to
purely,
like they don't
yeah,
fast forward. Like
right. They don't fast forward,
the
which is
technology happening around
yeah,
them is just inevitable with
yeah,
civilization.
yeah. But other characters, Gran, who's like the grandma of the water tribe, the southern water tribe. She's like, Korra. She's like, not Korra.
Aunt May.
She's more, well, not quite even that. She's Soka and
What did they name? I forgot his name.
yeah, and Katara's grandmother.
Yeah.
Then you got another character, Jet, who's like another kind of hotshot kind of guy who kind of, well, I won't go too detail because I don't want to give away anything there. And then you've got Suki, who is another interesting character. She's just like a skilled warrior kind of character. And just the makeup and the look of this whole world is just phenomenal. Did I miss anybody there? Oh yeah, and then there's an image there of Aang with a creature there. They also delve into the spirit realm as well. You're dealing with animals being spiritual. This is actually a spirit bear in the background. So they're not showing us images.
He is like the kid from The Shining. He's got bears around him all the time.
Really? Yeah. Yeah.
Have you guys seen Princess Mononoke?
But I don't know. I actually haven't.
Oh man, you could watch that. You should watch that.
I know. I know. Here
Like
it's
this,
very
this,
good.
these are all. A lot of this stuff is like kind of what inspired Avatar, the Last Airbender.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It's yeah, it's like since it's a newer thing, you could see like a lot of the anime nerds
Yeah.
kind of behind the whole thing kind of were inspired by a lot of established cartoons growing up.
Yeah.
A lot of anime and Miyazaki stuff.
Either way, I'm curious. I mean, if season 1 does well enough, they'll get a season 2 and hopefully a season 3. And if they do it right, they'll do this story in 3 seasons and then it's over with.
I'm just concerned because like the original show creators left the project for some reason.
They did leave the project.
Why did they ever reveal why? They said creative differences, but that's always the case.
Creative differences, but I also know that the creators had other things on the table, and they
They
are
want to
doing.
veer away from the original source material and
Yeah, well,
do something different.
they're doing a slightly grown-up Aang character as their next story, and it comes out in 2025.
Well, yeah, I know they're
So,
going to do that,
yeah,
but do you have
right.
is there
And
any
then
evidence on
others
why they left
No,
this?
usually that stuff is kind of hush hush and quiet behind whatever. So
Yeah,
creative difference is what was
it's
said.
concerning.
It's concerning, but here's the thing: just from recent stuff I've been reading, there's a lot of support behind what has been done by people who have seen stuff. So I'm curious to again, it's like they're not going to make a carbon copy of the cartoon, is what they've said. They've got all the bullet points that are important to what the cartoon is, and they're keeping the element of why these characters are so they say that why these characters are so genuinely liked. But they are changing parts of the story up, I'm guessing, to either make it move at a different pace for live action. I'm not too sure. I mean, if you watch the cartoon, there's a couple of episodes in there that are kind of a little slow and a little boring and don't really do anything.
They're called filler
yeah.
episodes.
Yeah.
Every cartoon has those.
Yeah. So you're going to ditch that kind of stuff. I mean, and
Well, that's the thing. See, I look back at One Piece, and they had the creator of One Piece heavily involved and kind of like has the last say on anything that they do.
Yeah.
And it turned out perfect. Like
correct. Yeah.
Like they really kind of dialed in what makes the cartoon so great, which is like focusing on the characters. If anything, that's what you got to do. Your set pieces could be the best you've ever seen, but if your characters aren't, if you don't nail the character chemistry, the way that we fell in love with them in the first place, then there's nothing. Yeah. You didn't do anything special. Yeah. All you did was just attempt.
Yeah.
But like, with the fact that One Piece had the creator with them, and he stuck around, and then we look at this, and then the creators ended up leaving. I'm gonna be kind of like
we're always going to skeptical and always going to question, but I'm going into this feeling pretty comfortable and convinced that there is something
the set pictures look great.
Sure, but the characters also look like the actors look like they're nailing it. I've seen some behind the scenes footage of just the actors. They look like they're enjoying what they're doing. So it seems, again, that doesn't say anything till we sit down and watch it. But I'm going in with
I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful, but then there's still that in the back of my head, getting worried about it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like that's something that causes concern. But hope. I want it to be good. Yeah. It looks great. The pictures look awesome. They look spot on. But that could only go so far.
Sure. Yeah.
But,
anyway. We get that show coming out, and I think it's February the 10th, and we'll definitely be reacting to that for sure.
The cartoon is on Netflix or Disney. Well, what is it?
It's on Netflix, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah. Because they're releasing on Netflix. Duh.
Yeah. Yes.
So Elijah, you should check it out.
No, I don't think you should. I don't think you should. I think it's be better off taking in the live action stuff first.
I think I would like to watch. This is season. This is a new series, a new season, right?
Yeah, and I can't remember if they said there's 8 or 10 episodes a season. Usually Netflix do 10 episodes a season, but
I've seen the other. I mean, I've seen obviously there's been other movies. I've seen the other stuff, but this new series does look visually interesting.
Oh yeah, no, totally. All right, guys. Well, that's about all I had for today. We'll probably finish up here. Everyone in chat who was out there, thanks for coming in and joining us. And sorry, I kind of detoured off chat there for a bit. Hey, how's it going? So I still can't pronounce that name. Can anyone pronounce Surunitemi? Surunitemi? Is that? I don't know if I've got that right. Anyway. Welcome back again.
Happy new movies.
We will be checking out and dropping reaction to next week's episode of Echo. So make sure you check that out.
Suru.
Suru. Okay, Suru. That makes it easier. Thank you, Suru. All right. And join us next week. We also just dropped the remaining of our reactions for What If. So check those last couple of reactions out.
And would you guys like to see a whole movie on what's her name? Kohori?
Kahori. Yeah. What do you think in chat there? Leave a
Would you like
message down below.
would you like them to expand on that character?
That's going to be cool. I think they're definitely going to expand on that character. I think it's
comic
been
book
received
series
so
at
well.
least for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Could do that right away.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how Marvel. I mean, Max will probably, when he's back,
he'll know
in the future. He'll know how they're going to integrate that sort of a thing, and maybe when he'll let us know and keep.
Well,
us
it's like
posted.
Coulson, he was MCU first.
Yeah.
Darcy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of just MCU characters that have become beloved among the fans and have kind of expanded into the comics.
Yeah.
So it's kind of nice. I mean, what's good about that is that they don't have any expectations to live up to because they're not established in comic form.
Right.
So they can't. It's impossible for them to do any injustice to anything. So they have a free reign. Free reign of being whatever. But
anyway. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. We shall see you next week. And also, Jason's channel, we're on Wednesday and
Wednesday nights
talking about stuff. All right. Catch you later, guys.